All right, so yesterday, if you remember, we started learning about the Agada, and we asked a question about this beginning of the Agada, where it starts off with the statement, right? You review, you first of all, you did Kiddush, and before Kiddush, you said Kaddish Rechatz, Karpas Yachatz. Remember, this is the whole order of things, and then you make Kiddush. And after you make Kiddush, you break the middle matzah, the third matzah. And then you wash your hands and you eat the karpas. No, you eat the karpas first, and then you break the middle matzah. And then you start magid, you start to say the Haggadah of Passover, and it begins with this sentence. So this is a Rebbe, this is like the title. This includes the whole entire point of the night of the Seder of Passover. Hey lachma anya, this is the bread of poverty that our fathers ate in the land of Egypt. Anyone who wants to come and eat, anyone who needs to come and eat from the Passover. Now we are here. Next year we'll be in the land of Israel. Now we are servants, slaves. Next year we'll be free. That's what we say. Says the Rebbe, this includes the whole entire thing. Okay, first question we have is, why are we inviting people now? We're sitting at home. We should invite people in synagogue. Anyone who wants to come and eat. Very, there we go. Huh? Oh. All right, so let's go. Let's talk about this. Here we go. There we go. Oh. So we said, what is the reason for? Here it is. Is Yadua, it is known. Their mimer, what it says of the rabbis, or if in PESACH on the sentence, Magi Davrav Yaakov, Chukov Umishpatav Yisrael. It's a sentence in Psalms. God said, gave his words to Jacob and his commandments to Israel. In other words, God also does the commandments. God has commandments, and he gave them to us. What does that mean? Mashahu said, what God does, he tells us to do. And also what he commands the Jews to do, and after we do it, he does it. And there's this relationship between God and the Jews, that God only tells us what to do with things that he does, and what we do, God reacts to. Huh? If so, we're tremendously important, more than we think. That's what that's what it's talking about here. God is saying here, also, thus was the Eberster, that which God hates Jews, same translation, that which God translates the Jews, he also does. Make this bigger. Elaine, he also does. Therefore, it's understood as Belil Passover in the night of Passover. Zok the Eberster, God says, the Piska, God is saying this. This is the bread of affliction. He says also by God, also there is, so to speak, what's called exile. God also is in exile. Then Yidden, when the Jews, Zion and Gullus, when the Jews, they're in exile, is Kiviyachal Oich de Shechina, also God is also in exile. Via state, like it says, Bekol Tzaratam Lotzar, and all the pain of the Jews, God gets pain. So God was in the Holocaust with us, and God was in the expulsion from Spain and from England and from France and from Portugal and from Italy. God he was suffering. What this means, Shechinta begalusa, it says that God's presence, God's Shekhinah is in exile. That's how important the Jewish people are to God. Und durch them, by means of this, was Yidden, by Jews, Villen Nigal, the Jews want to go out of exile, that Oyet Shekhinah, also God's presence, Nigal also goes out from Gullus. God also goes out from exile. Was therefore Zok der Eibishter, God says, Ki Korova Yeshua si, Lavo, my redemption is going to come soon. My redemption. God is suffering with the Jews. I mean, it says in the Torah, what does it say over there? When when God tells Moses, go into Paro and tell him to let the Jews go. So he doesn't just go to say Pharaoh and say, okay, Paro, enough, let the Jews go. That's all. See, I got the God of Israel is on my side. He doesn't say that. He says, go into Paro and say, B'ni Bechori Israel. My sons, my chosen ones, Israel. That's what he says. In other words, you're not just messing with the people that I chose arbitrarily, right? Like, what do you remember in high school? You used to, what are you looking at my car? What are you looking at my car for? Right? Even now, hey, you scratched my car. The Jews aren't like God's car. He cares about them, right? If you want to say anything that the non-Jews, the Gentiles, they're like God's car, a precious, valuable $1 million, $20 million painting. The non-Jews are God's handiwork. Precious to God. God doesn't want you to scratch them. He's very careless. But the Jews are God's sons. What are you going to do? That's it. Does that make any sense? When we explain in Hasidut what God is, so we explain all these high spiritual levels of what God is, and that's not God. That's just creations. That's just creations of God. Atzilus and before the Tzimtzum, that's just that's what is God? Infinite. Infinite is not the word. Infinite is like a disgrace to say that God is infinite. That's comparing him to the world. God is, but from that level of God, that's God cares about the Jews. We're God's sons. After all, God does create the world. God has details. All the laws of nature God is creating. That's what we believe. So God is very interested in the details. The divine is in the details. And people say the devil is in the details. The devil can also be in the details, but the divine, God cares about every detail. The Jews he especially cares about. Why? Because the Jews are chosen. We're chosen to tell the world exactly this, how much God loves them, how God cares about them, that God creates them. They're very important. But the Jews are special important. And that's the whole thing. The Jews were in exile. And the Jews, now you see in the whole world, very interesting. You go in the United Nations, everybody's against the Jews. Everybody is against the Jews, the worst people in the world. The Jews, the whole United Nations united. The Rebbe said 70 wolves and one sheep. Why? What do they got against the Jews? Why not? Pick the Zoroastrians or the and any other religion. There's so many religions in the world. You got to pick the Jews. What's up? It says because God picked the Jews and people don't like God. God tells you what to do. God has a special relation with the Jews. That's what it says in the Bible. I didn't make it up. That's God made it up. That's what God said. When the Jews are in exile, so God is also in exile. God gets pain from the suffering of the Jews. Their inyan from Gullus, the whole idea of special pain. The whole idea of exile is as dervos kefin sich in Gullus, a person that's found in exile. But Tachlis, a Meitzar, is found in the ultimate, you want to call it, the narrowness and helam and concealment, like being put into a solitary confinement, and the room that you've got is like 1 foot by 1 foot. You're still alive. You're still alive. There you are, right? That's like the Jew soul. A Jew's soul that's exile. Your body is free. Do what you want to, but your soul is in exile. I can do whatever I want to. I don't know what I want to. Right? I want to be like everybody else. Tell me what I want. I don't know what I want. Oich ben zayin mitzius, even when his whole existence is complete, punkt vi b'shas is oif der free. Just like even when his whole existence is complete, just like when he's free. Und das means is a galus shalamai. This is an exile from below. Right? A person. What does it mean to be in exile? If your body is in exile, you know it. But if your soul is in exile, you don't even know it. Even though at the time of exile, is doch in yeder nivra, in every creation, there is a life and godly life. And God is creating everybody and enlivening us. Which belebt un ständig b'kol rega, which enlivens us constantly, every single instant, creates us every instant. So what type of exile is that here? God is creating us. Zet zich, but they're chayas, but you don't see the fact that God is creating us. You don't see the fact that God is enlivening us. There's no one to give thanks to. steht b'meitzar helen, you're in concealment. Und via Zoe wird der Gullus Shalamayla zu lieb dem Gullus from Eden. The same thing is God is also in exile. When the Jews are in exile, God is also in exile. What does that mean? Just like the Jews, when they're in exile, they don't act like Jews. When the Jews are in exile, it causes God to be in exile, so it doesn't act like God. Doesn't act like God. He hides himself. God doesn't want to be hidden. Und das is Mavor. This is explained in their erster Teil, in the first part of what it says, Hey Lachma Anya. Mitzadem, because of the unuse, because of the poverty of consciousness, was is da by Yidden, which is by Jews, and ani elabadas, like it says, true poverty only comes from consciousness. True poverty comes from consciousness. As verti achla avasana. Therefore, our fathers became devoured. Don't say this is the bread of affliction which our fathers ate, but this is the bread of affliction which ate up our fathers. What are our fathers? We're going to say as vert oif gegessen. Oif gegessen is, so to speak, devoured. The beginning of avosano, our fathers. What is fathers? This is we just finished learning about Matzorah. Nisachla, there is concealed our fathers. The fathers are Chachma and Bina. The Mochin Shalamayla, Mochin Viren an Gerufen mitnomen Avos. Your intellect is called Avos. In the third chapter of the Tanya, it talks about this. Shlosh Avos, Vile, Zeizainen, Tachmokar Kalamidas, because why are they called fathers, parents? Because they give birth to the emotions. Your intellect gives birth to the emotions, so your intellect is called mothers and fathers. And when in exile, the mothers and fathers are eaten. You have the wrong ideas and the wrong awareness, sensitivities of what reality is. Therefore is oich lamata, even below nitakan yedia and elokush. You don't feel godliness. Azoy visi is out the Mitzrayim, like it wasn't in Egypt. Was Gullus, which the exile in Egypt is the source of all the exiles that came afterwards. In Babylon and in Greece and etc. And the one we're in now is called the exile of Rome. When all of Galileus, all the exiles are called by the name of Mitzrayim. As Paro, he was the king of Egypt, had gezakt, he said, Lo yadati Hashem. He said, I don't know this name of God. I know all the gods, I know all the powers, and this name of God, of the Jewish people, that he creates everything, I don't know. There's no such thing as that. Ervil nitves, and he didn't want to know about the whole existence of godliness. Spirituality, he knew. It says that in Egypt, that the children from school, they could turn sticks into snakes. Huh? You don't learn that in school. Sticks into snakes, they could turn water into blood. Who does a thing like that? That's what they could do. They were tremendously spiritual people in Egypt. They know all the deepest secrets and the deepest secrets. I remember before I was religious, I read a book called The Egyptian Book of the Dead. I remember that. The Egyptian Book of the Dead talks about all these. There's also the Tibetan Book of the Dead. Interesting stuff, Not very practical. I mean, and it also leads you to be very, very super selfish. I mean, you're just thinking about yourself all the time. What can I do in order to ensure myself a good place in the world to come? But nevertheless, they were very spiritual. They really got these upper worlds. On their Gansen Arum and the whole surrounding had maskim given mitim. The whole world agrees with you. What you don't know God, the whole world agrees with Paro. Paro was the king of the world. No such thing as God. No such thing as God's chosen people. There's no such thing as a creator. There's no. What are you talking about? Everybody says you're right, Paro, 100%. Go for it, man. Now you're talking. Now you're saying the truth. This is what we. And the Geula, the Rebbe, that's the idea of exile. What is the idea of Geula Shalamayla? Kum tach durch der Geula from Yidden. How does God get freed so that God can reveal himself in the world and that people feel that there's a creator and that there's a purpose for their existence? The Jews, it all depends on the Jews. Oif dem, their weiter, it says later on, in the second part, the bakasha, the request and the promise was der Eibishter sagt, which Eibishter says, call dich v'in yes v'yechel. God said, anyone who wants to come and eat. Notwithstanding the darkness of exile, And there is their Eibishter, God says, Mavtiach, I trust, I promise you, as jeder Yid, that every single Jew, pointer over here, that every single Jew, jeder Yid, every single Jew, was is not hungry. If all you have to have is just be hungry, all you want to do is just want to know what the truth is. You don't have to believe, you don't have to just be inquisitive. The whole light of Passover starts with questions. Questions are of utmost importance to Judaism. Utmost importance. If you don't ask questions, it means you're not interested. If you're not interested, it means that you're no matter what you get, you won't care. You don't care. Gedlichkeit. Vet im der Eibishter Zetikin Zion hunger. God will satisfy your hunger. You want to know what God is. You want to know what Judaism is. You want to know if the Torah is really true, that God really exists. Be inquisitive. Ask questions. Das is doch aber. This is not this is only receiving enough to how do you say, satisfy your hunger. You won't be hungry. Anyone who wants to come and eat. In other words, you won't starve. God says, you won't be starving in exile anymore. If you're hungry, you want to have a little godliness, Judaism, I'll provide it for you. Men gitim nor voser felt. It's given to you only what's lacking. Soll nit sein hungry, so you wouldn't be hungry. That's what it says. Anyone who wants to is necessary, come and eat. It says, aber nit kein ashirus, but God says that's not enough. I want you to be rich. I want you to be rich in spirituality. B'shas aber yidden, b'kumen come the machsoro, when after the Jews are just filled, they're lacking so that they're not starving anymore. Vertshoin by, there is still by them there is a hechra hasaga, there's still a higher level. As fathered zich by zeh, it has to be rich. It's wonderful not to be starving anymore, not to be in Auschwitz or somewhere like that. So God takes us out and he feeds us. Now we're out and we're healthy, and it says, that's it. It's just not it. When you're dealing with God, there's no limit to good. When oiv dem zokter weiter, it says later on, called ditzrich, anyone who just wants, not that you need, if you just want, ver noch is darf is fathered, ashirus, everyone should want to be rich, spiritually rich, physically rich also, but here the Rebbe is talking about the spiritually rich. Vetmen oich im das geben, v'yese v'yifsach. That's what it says here. Let's go to the Haggadah of Passover so we know what we're talking about over here. Watch this. See, it said, this one here, there, this one. Oh, okay, see? It says, Hela, let's get rid of this one here. It says, this is the bread of affliction that our fathers ate in Egypt. How does the Rebbe translate that? This is the bread of affliction. The bread of affliction, this is the exile. Bread of affliction means exile. That it ate up our fathers, Chochmah and Bina, that we have no awareness of God in Egypt, in exile. This is the poverty that ate up anyone, dichvin, anyone who really is cast down can come and eat. God says, you're poor, your Chochmah and Bina has been devoured by exile. All you have to do is dichvin, realize that how low you are. And Yesef Yechal said, God, I'm inviting you. Come and eat. I'll provide you for what you need. You won't be in exile anymore. So, but that's not enough just to be not bad, going from bad. You have to come to good, be more good. Call Dietrich, anyone who needs it, Yesef Yivsach, can come and take part of the Pesach offering. What's the Pesach offering? Oh, that's richness. Why is the Pesach offering richness? I'll tell you in 1 second. Here we go. Why is it? Yesef Yivsach was Pesach is eaten alasova. The law is that the Pesach offering they would bring to the temple was a sheep. In Egypt, there was a goat also, a sheep or a goat, and they would eat it at the end of the meal. after the meal, after you're already eaten. Nowadays we have the apikomen. That's in the place of the last thing that they ate was the PESACH offering. After they were all filled for the meal, they ate the regular meat. They had a shlomim offering and whatever, and they ate that up. They were finished. The only reason they ate the Pesach offering was for the mitzvah. You weren't doing it because you were hungry. You ate it after you were already satisfied. It is nit kein inyan from zetikens and hunger. It's not just satisfying your hunger. You're not hungry. You're not hungry anymore. Because you were satisfied. Your hunger was already quelled previously. Thus is an inyan from Ashirus. Now we're talking about, God says, I'm not promising you this night just that you won't be poor. I'm promising this night that you will be rich. The chashivus gedola hecher vida machsaro, more than what is lacking for you. Darnach, then afterwards, there's the third part. Okay, so now we learn the first two parts of the Haggadah of Pesach. Here we go. Let's do this here. Ready? Here's it. This is the bread of affliction that ate up our fathers. A chachma bina. Anyone who wants to come and eat, anyone who has any desire, I'll make you rich. Pesach. Okay, now the third part. First part was, this is the bread of affliction that ate up our fathers. Exile. Going out of exile. Out of exile. God says, I'll take you out of your problems tonight. And not only that, I'll even give you richness, big awareness of God. Now there's the third part. Now we are here. Next year, we're going to be in the land of Israel. Now we are slaves. Next, we're going to be free. Okay, what does this mean? Oh, here we go. Ready? Dernoch, afterwards, is the third part from the Pisca. Is Mevari explains what's going to be from this idea that you're going to come and the poverty will be relieved. And not only that, you'll be made rich. Yifsach, the Ashirus, this richness and awareness of God, which Jews have acquired, which God is promising and making available on the night of Passover, Ved by Poilin as Chach Hashta'acha, that even though now we are here, that next year, what does it mean next year? It doesn't mean we have to wait a year. It means immediately. Ashana Haba mean nit davka. It doesn't mean that we have to wait. Midar vartan, you have to wait for a year. This can sein uptan bald. That can happen immediately. When we say next year we'll be free, it means immediately we'll be free. And when next year comes around, then we'll already have had a year of freedom, right? We'll be free next year. With our situation will be not that we'll be freed next year. Next year we'll already be free. The freedom will begin right now, bald immediately. So therefore, automatically, the Pesach Haba, next Passover over a year will be a Shana Haba, will be already Ba'ara the Israel, in the land of Israel. What does it mean, the land of Israel? What about people that already live in the land of Israel? Huh? I live in Kfar Chabad. Maybe I don't have to say this over here. Next year, maybe I'm talking about everybody else, all the other Jews that are outside. Says the Rebbe, don't drink a cup. We're talking about all of the Jews. There are no Jews that are living in Israel now. We're not living in Israel. And living in Israel does not depend on where you physically are. You can be living in Jerusalem and you're not living in Israel. You could be living in the, who knows where, in Tibet, and you could be in Israel. What does it mean? Israel means, Eretz means ratzon, want, desire. Lama Nikra Shemo Eretz. Why is the land of Israel called Eretz? America is called the land of America. The land of England, the land of Russia, right? Eretz, Ruslia, Eretz. Israel is called the land of Israel. Why is it called the land? Because the word land is Eretz. Why is it called Eretz? Sheratza, ratzon, desire. It wants to do what God wants. When Yisrael, the first letter is Yesh, Shishim, Riboy, Osios, the Torah. Yesh, Shishim, Riboy, Osios, the Torah. There are 600,000 letters in the Torah. There's a way of counting it that's what it comes out to. 600. So what do I mean? Eretz Yisrael means that you have a ratzon, a desire to learn and to do and to fulfill what it says in the Torah. Means that ratzon have a desire in the Torah. Because the Torah is not just an additional thing. True, a Jew that doesn't do the Torah and he doesn't learn, doesn't do the commandments, and he doesn't do anything, he's just as much a Jew as Moses. 100%. He is a Jew. But that's not Judaism. That's not Judaism. That's like saying a person, when he's in a coma, he's a person, still a human being. You can't throw him in the garbage, right? Still a person. But the fact of the matter is, a Jew is not here just to be a Jew. We're here to fix the world up. How do you do that? Through the Torah. Only through the Torah. In order to really make the world according to the Torah, the way, that's what we learned in the Likuti Torah. It has to be ratzon. You have to have a desire. A ratzon, the will to use the Torah and the commandments in order to bring godliness into the world, to do what God wants in the world. As the mitzad dem ashirus, because of when you're rich in your awareness of God, this brings the richness also physically. Varum, because Allah, everything in the physical world comes from the spiritual. As vet der ratzon, then the will of every Jew will be in the Torah. While Banos Yisrael knows him, it says that the Jewish women are beautiful, but poverty, the poverty of exile, it makes them unattractive. Every single Jew, that's what it means, the daughters, every Jew, because of his true desire, is good. What the anius, the poverty, as farstelt, it covers over this will for serving God. The shasa, but when it comes to when you remove the poverty from the Jewish people, that's what God says. Tonight I'm giving you to eat, I'm giving you richness, I'm giving you the Pesach offering, richness. When that's removed, the anius badas, when your awareness of God is not poor, is not impoverished, as vet der Yiddisher Yofi Arois Kumen, then the Jewish beauty will come out in a revealed way. Kula Yafe Raisi Umumim Bach, like it says in the Song of Songs, all of you are beautiful, my beloved one, and there is no blemish in you. This is God speaking to the Jewish people. See, is nit kein mum in Yidden, there's no blemish in the Jewish people. As vet zay, by zay, there is not lacking any of the 248 limbs and which can correspond to the 248 the 248 commandments, which correspond to the 248 limbs of God. Un in kein einer from the shis, and there's also not lacking from the 365 prohibitions, which correspond to the 365 blood vessels. In other words, that's what it means. The Jewish people will be beautiful and complete. No blemish whatsoever. What does it depend on? Just removing the bad. It's already, the good is already there. Very basic message of Judaism. The world is good. Every human being is good. We just have to reveal it. It's covered over. On their Eretz Israel, the being in the land of Israel, which means the desire to learn the Torah and brings the Hashana Haba, we will be free. What does it mean we will be free? That's what next year it says immediately we'll be in the land of Israel. The land of Israel means having a desire to learn the Torah and bring the power of the Torah to fix up the world and to fix up the Jewish people. That's what it means, the land of Israel. That's what it means. Next year, immediately, we will be in the land of Israel. Every Jew will have the desire. And also, we will be free. B'nei chorim. B'shas the ratzon. Wait, here, let's have a look over here. It says, we'll land of Israel, and next year we will be b'nei chorim. We will be free. What does it mean we're going to be free? 1 minute. I'll get to this. I see somebody asked the question. We'll get to the question in a moment. We'll be free. What does it mean free? The shas the ratzon, when the desire of every Jew will be in Torah and in the commandments, then vet men veren, we will be b'nei chorim, will be truly free. Befreit veren, will be free from the exile by means of the Moshiach. Was vet kumen, which the Mashiach will come in a generation which is totally meritorious, What does it mean meritorious? The Mashiach will make everyone desire to do the commandments, and then that'll be a generation which is totally meritorious. Und demel then vet sich aipev, and then will begin the redemption. Pesach, like it says, the Rambam says in the Seder Brazil, we just learned this yesterday, as Vert Upstand, there will stand up a king from the house of King David, and he will teach Torah. He will learn Torah, and he will do the commandments just like King David, and he will build the third temple. And after he builds the third temple, und done then, zu neuf Zamlin, he will gather together, Mashiach will gather together the Farvargan Yidden, all the spread out Jews, men that we will, Gan, and all the Jews will go to Eretz Israel, will really be in the land of Israel. Oich Bagashmi is not just spiritually, they will have a desire to learn the Torah and fix the world, but physically, all the Jews will be in Israel, Begula, Mitis Vashlema, in a complete, true, total redemption, Bekor of Mamash, very, very soon. Huh? Beautiful. Now, let us do the Yom Yom. We have a question over here, 1 second. What's the question? Mashiach Landers, there we go. Mashiach now, there we go. But first of all, it says the Mashiach is going to build the Holy Temple. So the whole process can be very quick. And it's been taking thousands of years, but when it happens, we'll see it's quick. Okay. Now we have the Yom Yom. Let's stop the share.